As of right now, there is no certified winner of the 2020 presidential election. Of course, the media has already projected that Joe Biden will be the 46th president of these United States, calling him president-elect. Of course, Democrats had been doing it for quite some time, but certification has not yet occurred. Now, I already know what the left is going to start saying, but please, my point is, I am trying to report what's going on and give you my thoughts in as nonpartisan a way as possible. Of course, the left is saying Trump supporters refuse to accept the results of the election, cope, not realizing projections are not certification. Typically in presidential elections, so I can understand why they may feel this way, when the projected winner is announced, before certification happens, the loser, the projected loser, calls and concedes. But the media is looking at raw numbers and saying, here's our projections. When they all do this, over the past several elections, you'll have a Mitt Romney, for instance, be like, okay, all right, I can see it. I lost. There's no point in carrying this forward. And they're going to certify the winner. Donald Trump is refusing to concede. And he's not yet lost. I mean, listen, the media can project it all they want. Trump is legally correct in how this process is supposed to play out. What most people are just used to is people saying, I'm going to concede. What you need to understand is that in many of these states, it is extremely close. I am not surprised. This is not some, look, my view on this is not that, Trump supporters are pouting and crying and saying, I refuse to lose. It's them saying this is way too close. With like a Mitt Romney, he lost by a decent amount. It's like, okay, I get it. I lost. And like a McCain, too. But look at Al Gore. That went on for 36 to 38 days or whatever, depending on who you ask. And it went through the courts. And eventually, by seriously a couple hundred votes, George Bush became president. Trump supporters are not just going to walk away. And I will give a very serious warning to those on the left. I tweeted about this. They don't want to accept it. Y'all are playing with fire right now. And I know. Tim, you're biased. Listen to me. Right now, Trump, I'm going to read through you Trump's list of legal claims. Today is the day he fires off these lawsuits in these other states. If you do not go through this process, and if the media just keeps bashing people over the head with it's over, Biden won, you are making polarization worse in this country. We have a hyper-polarized nation right now with left and right, very heated. We've had battles in the streets between right-wing and left-wing individuals, Antifa going around rioting. We need to make sure that we go through this process and that Trump and his people can bring their legal claims because we have no certified results yet. See how this plays out. And then here's what we want to happen. Here's what we want to happen. If you're on the left, here's what you want. You want Giuliani and Trump and all of his legal individuals to say, here's our argument. Then for the courts to say, bunk, 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 Joe Biden wins. That's what you want. Because then if a month from now the Trump supporters are saying, no, it's not fair, you can say, listen, we went through the courts. We took your claims seriously. You didn't win. Of course, Trump supporters want these claims challenged because they think they're going to win from it. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win or lose. I'm going to tell you that right now, the Electoral College votes as projected show Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be winning. But man, the arrogance and the hubris, the media got everything wrong. They got the polls wrong. I don't trust them right now, and I am really worried about what is coming in the next several weeks. I am sick and tired of the hubris, especially of those on the left who have just watched the pollsters make historical failures of up to 7 points on average nationwide and now say, but their projections are spot on. I'm sorry, man. We could go to a recount. It could flip. And yes, many states, I know. Historically, it doesn't seem to make sense. I'm not playing any games. It's 2020, baby. We just went through a year where everyone's like, this is the craziest year ever. And Friday the 13th is coming up. Not that it means anything. I'm not particularly superstitious, but considering how weird this year has been, I'm starting to consider it. I'm not literally considering it, but I'm just pointing out. If you are superstitious, if you think 2020 is a crazy year, all these people that are dancing in the street thinking they won, I'm like, dude, stranger things have happened. Seriously, go read the history of the United States and the elections that we've had. We have had many elections where it's been too close to call. And there was one, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was like 1876 or something, where they convened a panel to decide the election results. They didn't even go through the constitutional process. People don't get it, man. Donald Trump is not your typical president. This is not your typical election. We are in crazy times. And to think things are going the way they normally do, like everything's back to normal. Yay. The media projected a winner, even though they couldn't project polls to save their own careers. Frank Luntz said, if we get these polls wrong this time, then we got to start looking for new jobs. You're right, buddy. 7-point failure, historical failure. And now they're projecting a winner. My friends, it seems ridiculously likely that this will end up with a Joe Biden presidency. I'm just telling you, until the fat lady sings, I wonder if I'm allowed to say that. Is that offensive now? Until we get hard certification, I'm not gonna play any games. I'll say it like I said it. It seems beyond a reasonable doubt to me. It's going to be Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, but I'm basing this off of historical precedent. We're used to the media giving us a projected winner and they're just rolling with it. But I don't think Donald Trump's going to give up. And I think y'all better, if y'all haven't been paying attention to what they've been claiming and the challenges that have been coming forward, then it might seem like you're about to walk into a glorious victory with Joe Biden. Sorry, I don't see that being the case. I think the media is making their projections. I'm fighting off of Steve. Sorry. I think that they're basing everything on historical precedent, what they're used to. But these are crazy times. And I got to tell you, man, listen. I got some articles for you. Several jurisdictions where voter registration exceeded 100%. Now, I know the left and the media has been trying to explain this, saying it's because I think one of the official explanations as to why vote totals exceeded registration numbers is that at the very last minute, people changed their addresses. I'm not kidding. That's one of the official explanations. I have the article. I'll read it for you. In some other places, they're saying it's because people registered same day. Okay, sure, fine. But it is a historically known telltale sign of voter fraud when voter registration exceeds 100%. And the reason is voter rolls contain people who moved and dead people, which makes it very, very hard to ever get near 100%. For example, in places like in Australia, getting over 100% is crazy, and they have compulsory voting. But I've got these articles and I'll show them to you. I am not here to play games. I think there's a very, very simple explanation as to why Donald Trump lost. And I think it's because he got Ocean's 11. Ocean's 11. There you go. That's the way I'll put it. I don't necessarily think. I think there's some anomalous instances of voter registration counts, and we'll go through this. OK, I reserve judgment because I require evidence. But listen, I just want to say this. All the Trump supporters, they gave themselves 30 plus days for absentee and early voting. Come on. That means they were able to go around for 30 days telling people to vote, to send in their mail-in ballots. People were getting mail-in ballots sent straight to them, and then someone would go there, go vote. And then they would. This maximized voter turnout. It was a clever strategy, but it was they changed the rules of the game, so call it that. But it wasn't like there are a lot of claims about, dead people voting and things like that. Those are easy to prove in an audit. And maybe we'll get to that point. So by all means, we'll go for that. But I'm telling you right now, man, I think the strategy from the entire get-go, and I've been saying this all year, with mail-in voting, you get a bunch of mail-in ballots to a house. Then mom and dad are sitting there with their kids between 18 and 24, whatever. And they're like, your mail-in ballots came in, fill them out now, we're sending them in. And there you go, historic voter turnout. These young people who normally don't vote are sitting there and their mom is going, come in here and vote. We're voting right now. I don't care. I don't want to vote for anybody. Just fill it out. Vote. Fine. Whatever. And they fill it out. That's why I think Joe Biden's able to pull it off. Now, I'm not going to discount all of the claims being brought forward by Trump. I am going to wait and see them through, because even if I think it's going to end up with a Joe Biden presidency, I want to make sure every Trump supporter has had their say and has been granted their right to challenge it as they are legally allowed. Donald Trump as well. The media is playing a dangerous game, right? And I think it's because they just want to win. They want to, no, we won. It's too tribalist. It's too polarized. Here's what I want to see. I want to see a media saying, look, guys, it's looking like Joe Biden won, but with respect, please bring forward all of your challenges. We'll go through them and make sure you're comfortable and confident with the results. And then You defang the argument, okay? We don't want 71 million people feeling like something crazy happened and the election was stolen from them. We want them to feel like we tried every possible avenue. We just lost this time. That means respecting that this country is hyperpolarized and that these people demand answers. Let's make sure everyone gets answers. You're a Trump supporter, you get your answer, okay? Let me show you this article from the Daily Mail. Defiant Trump tweets through the night about his legal challenge to Biden victory. Lawyers claim Supreme Court could declare Pennsylvania votes illegal. 9,000 non-residents voted in Nevada, and witnesses say their votes were denied. Here's the legal avenues identified by Trump so far. Challenging the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's decision that ballots arriving up to 3 days late can be counted in the total. The U.S. Supreme Court has already ruled those ballots must be kept segregated and tallied separately while the case is pending. Full stop. The votes that came in that brought Biden over the edge were from Election Day or before. That means this argument is irrelevant. However, we do have witnesses, and in Pennsylvania, a postal worker who has signed a sworn affidavit under oath that people in, I guess where he worked, were backdating ballots received later. We also have witnesses saying that ballots did arrive after Election Day into Pennsylvania. The argument was the ballots that the left is saying, the ballots that arrived in Pennsylvania late, because we saw the poll watchers saying they're bringing in ballots. They said, yes, but those are postmarked from Election Day. The problem is, if you've got a guy swearing under oath, under penalty of perjury, prison time, we got it, a witness. It has to be taken seriously. This means Donald Trump does have a legal avenue here. At the very least, if this sparks an investigation which drags us beyond December 14th, the date of Electoral College certification, this could go to House delegations. It could. I'm not saying it will. I don't know. Trust the media for all I care. I'm just telling you, to the best of my understanding, what's happening. Alleging that here's the next point. Alleging that at least 15 ballots and as many as 100 have been cast on behalf of dead people in Pennsylvania. If you got 100 dead people who have voted, I got to tell you, that sounds to me like clerical errors and anomalies. 100 people, by all means, investigate and make sure. But here's what I want to say to all the Trump supporters when they see a lot of these stories. People are dumb. Okay, look, a person is smart, but people are panicky, stupid animals, right? Is that the quote from Men in Black? If you've got hundreds of millions of people participating in this vote, you gotta recognize there's going to be a failure rate. 100 people in Pennsylvania out of what? What is it, like 12 or something million? I don't know how many votes were cast in Pennsylvania, but millions of votes. You're going to see serious error, and you are going to see fraud. Is it widespread enough to overturn the results? In this case, probably not. But good for people if they catch it. If they do, let's make sure our elections are secure and things like this don't ever happen in the future. As per Michigan as well, I think the same thing. If you're finding that dead people were sending in ballots, we need to make sure we have clear evidence laid out. Otherwise, people aren't going to trust the election process. 71 million people voted for Donald Trump, the second highest vote total in history. And I know people are saying, yeah, Tim, but population growth, blah, blah, blah. Dude, Obama in 2008 got 69 million. OK, so, yes, Trump got 71. Biden got 75. A lot of people are saying we challenge the results. But listen, I just got to be real with you. I do not see Joe Biden getting 4 million fraudulent votes. That to me is nuts. I know that's popular vote total. So we're talking about New Jersey, New York, Illinois, and California. We're not concerned with those as per the results of the election. What we're really concerned about is the swing states where the margins are in the thousands to tens of thousands, or in Michigan, 140 or so. Let's read a little bit more. Here's another point. Pushing the FBI to investigate claims from a postal worker in Pennsylvania that supervisors instructed him to backdate postmarks on postal ballots. Let me correct that. He overheard them saying that when ballots come in, to give them to someone else. That's my understanding. I could be wrong about this, but my understanding was he overheard them saying they were going to do it. And then he was told to bring the ballots to those people. And he swore under oath that's what happened. Now that could cause very serious problems because we already saw what happened in New Jersey in Patterson when they nullified the results of the election. And let me just tell you, maybe this is a bad thing, but we got some Supreme Court justices who might hold a grudge against one Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. You may have seen the memes. Clarence Thomas was accused by Joe Biden of some nasty stuff back in the 90s, and Brett Kavanaugh was just accused by Kamala Harris of some nasty stuff in the past 2 years. I'm not going to impugn the honor of these justices and say that their personal feelings will get in the way of how they rule. Take it into consideration, however. They also say investigating ballot counting software in Michigan that tallied 6,000 Trump votes as Biden votes. That error was caught and corrected, but the same software was used elsewhere, and the campaign wanted it checked. That's another huge issue. That software was used in 30 states. Now they claim it was human error. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what they claim it was. I believe there's grounds enough for Trump to say we want hard evidence, and that means we got to check the results. We want a recount. The courts may say it's ground for a recount. We have evidence of a failure in some capacity. I don't know for sure. And I'll tell you, we may be looking at a reverse Gore situation where the Supreme Court just says we're not going to allow you a recount based on these claims. It's not enough, and certification has to happen. Or it could come down to the Republican legislatures in these states. This is where things really start to scare me, and I mean it. Y'all think that we're out of the woods. We're not. Look, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Republican legislatures at the state level, they could refuse to certify the results due to claims of fraud from the Trump campaign. And then we get a very serious problem. Joe Biden will not have the electoral votes needed to actually be elected president. And then we go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court could abstain and say we're not getting involved. They probably will in some capacity. But then it would go to House delegations and Trump will win. I'm not suggesting I think it's likely this happens. I'm saying the possibility is there. The door is there and Trump is going after this stuff. Look, man, you know what I'm seeing? The left is letting their guard down. It's like there's that subreddit premature celebration. Sometimes it seems likely. Joe Biden won. Congratulations. If he did, well, I'm worried about foreign policy. We'll see how things play out. But I'm an adult. I can live my life when I lose, when my candidate doesn't win. I'm not going to cry about it. But we are not there yet. I will not look, even after January 20th, I'll be worried about a Biden presidency. Plus, we got the Georgia special election, which is going to dictate control of the Senate. It could go Democrat. I think it's very unlikely, and most people do. We'll probably end up with 51 Republican senators. However, until we get to this point where we have certified results on the 14th, I'm not comfortable, okay? I'm not going to just be like, everything's fine. Everything's totally fine. It's all done. Congratulations. The great political battle is over. No, it's not over until Trump decides it's over, or the courts do. I think it's funny when I'm seeing these Trump supporters and Trump campaign people on Twitter saying we're going to fight this. And all these lefties are like, that's the best part. It's not up to you. We won. It's over. Take a look at the Supreme Court and the 3 justices Trump just put on it, dude. Your hubris is showing. Trump's got a 6-3 conservative court majority. And to be fair, Roberts will probably side with the left. So it's 5-4. Not to mention Clarence Thomas and Kavanaugh. Not to impugn their honor as judges, but may have some personal issues with the new president and vice president. We'll see. Look, we've seen some crazy stuff, okay? Donald Trump winning was crazy enough. I'm not going to put it past some kind of crazy hubbub. I remember vaguely the 2000 election. I was a little kid for the most part, but I remember the chaos that ensued. If you think this is going to end cleanly right now, you're wrong. We want it to end cleanly in time. They say they want to invest a claim that up to 9,000 people who no longer live in Nevada were allowed to vote in the state. Investigating claims that people who went to vote on election day were told their ballots had already been cast for them by someone else. Raising doubts over software used to check signatures on mail-in ballots cast in Clark County, Nevada, though they have not said what they believe is wrong with the software. Today, we are supposed to get the official announcement from a bunch of Trump supporters as to what their evidence is. And I got to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if I roll my eyes at it and say, come on, guys. I think Trump got Ocean's 11. OK, if there was anything that happened, it happened a long time ago. And you're probably not going to find the hard evidence you need to overturn the results in many of these states, even if it did happen. That's just reality. I don't know what you expect to happen beyond that, but I think it should make its way through the courts. I think what really happened, and you'll probably find some impropriety because it always happens. Is it widespread? Honestly, I don't know. I'm not a psychic. I'm not an expert. I'm not clairvoyant or anything like that. But I'll tell you this. They changed the system to vote by mail and early voting. They gave themselves a month to collect votes. So when they say, why is it that all the votes that came in after Election Day were for Biden? It's because Democrats were going around like heavily. I don't want to say ballot harvesting, but we did see that video from Veritas. But it's not even that hard. Simply going and doing outreach programs, showing up in communities and saying, did you vote? Did you vote? Fill out this form, teaching them how to fill out forms, registering voters. Now, Trump had voter registration advantage. But you got to understand, man, I know people like Trump supporters don't want to hear it. People hate Trump. There's videos of people dancing in the streets. OK, does that mean he lost? No, he got a historic vote margin. Joe Biden just got more. I don't know what's going to happen. It looks like a Joe Biden victory for now based on historical precedent, what we're used to. But Trump could win in the courts. Now, I want to make sure I show you something very important. This is an article from 2nd of September, 2016. Vote rigging, how to spot the telltale signs. And this is something the Democrats will have to overcome if they want confidence in the system. First, too many voters. Watch the turnout figures. They can be a big giveaway. You never get a 98% or 99% turnout in an honest election. You just don't. Voting is compulsory in Gabon, but it is not enforced. Even in Australia, where it is enforced, where you can have vote by post or online and can be fined for not voting, turnout only reaches 90 to 95%. Even in Australia, where you will be fined for not voting and you can do it online, they can't get 100%. You know why? Some people move, some people die. They remain on the voter rolls. How is it then that we have in many different counties, it is exceeding 100%? In many communities, voter turnout in both counties exceeded 100%, a data anomaly created by new voter registrations on top of near total participation among voters who had registered in advance of Election Day. That flies in the face of what we know about international election watching, UN standards, and Australia. Does it mean it's proof of fraud? No. It's an anomaly. I would say it's probable cause. I put it, probable cause means like you smelled something that may be pot, okay? We're looking at something, we see smoke. Does it mean there's fire? Not always. Some people say where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, maybe. I say we take a look. That's about it. Trump should call for an audit. But it wasn't just here in Milwaukee or in Wisconsin. We also have this in Florida. They say this. If you've been keeping an eye on the voter turnout page on our website, you may have noticed that there's over 102% of turnout in precinct 538. Well, in fact, it ultimately, where are we at? It ultimately exceeded 107.56%. They say it's because people changed their addresses. Okay, I don't care what your reason is. Maybe that's true. It's fine. But you can't have the BBC putting out these articles saying if it exceeds 100%, it's evidence of, it's an indicator of fraud. I don't want to say evidence, indicator. And then have all these things happen in the U.S. and expect no one to be concerned about it. Let's just make sure we go through this and just show people. If that's the case, here it is. They point out, and I'll say it again, in Australia, where you can vote by post or online, they still don't get to 100. And I'll also tell you this. High turnout in specific areas. We saw that. I don't know about large numbers of invalid votes. We'll see what happens to these legal challenges. More votes than ballots. That's obvious. Results that don't match. We're not seeing that. Delay in announcing the results. Hey, we saw that, didn't we? There was a serious delay. The left was complaining about the delay, saying it made no sense. We could project a winner in many of these states Trump wasn't going to recover from. Why was it being delayed? Listen, BBC, either you retract the article and explain that you are wrong because we do have circumstances in the U.S. where voter totals can exceed 100%, or we need to explain to Trump supporters why the vote totals exceeded 100% and thus investigate. I don't care. I've got these people saying, Tim, you need to just be honest. And you always said you would tell people the truth, even if it would make them mad, whether they're Trump supporters or not. Yeah, I will. And that right now, it's making you mad, isn't it? Because you think a projected winner is the end of it. Let me say it one more time. In my personal opinion, what I think happened was the Democrats played the long game. Early and absentee votes, and hardcore outreach. You've already got people who hate Trump. The media was lying about him all day, every day, creating this rage base, and then getting people to do outreach for over a month, for like a year. Listen, There's a lot of people who probably voted who don't know and don't care. And they say, how do you explain that so many people voted for Joe Biden and nobody else down ticket? Another indicator of impropriety, for sure. Let's look into it. Let's audit, right? However, people just didn't like Trump. There's two explanations here. I'm not saying it's definitive. The first is that some people hating Trump just said, I want to vote for Biden. I'm sick of Trump, and that's it. Didn't know or care about anybody else. You may have had some urban liberals who hate the urban progressives who hate the Democratic Party, but don't like Donald Trump. Trump is a fascist. Is the Republican running in your district? I don't know or care. So people probably just went, Joe Biden. The other is that in many areas, people actually voted for Joe Biden and for the Republicans. We saw the Democrats get obliterated in many places. Why? Dude, I got to be honest. The Democrats lost because they're culture war candidates, because they're the impeachment candidates. The House, they lost seats because they're impeachment. Max Rose, I'm pretty sure Max Rose lost. He was like, I'm going to be a moderate. Don't worry. And then as soon as he gets in, he's like, I'm going to impeach Trump. So they say, get him out of here. But I'm willing to bet there's a lot of people in Staten Island who are also like, Trump's kind of annoying. Ultimately, I do find it all odd. I'm not saying I know the answers. I'm just saying there are reasonable explanations. And I'm leaning right now towards the extreme likelihood that Joe Biden's going to be president. OK, however, I think these people on the left, after seeing all of their failures, everything they were wrong about, and the fact the media incorrectly projected, the polls were ridiculously wrong. I'm like, what are you doing? Stop acting like you know what's happening. I don't know what's going to happen. OK, I'll leave it there. We'll see. I'll tell you one thing, though. I got a bunch of people hitting me up telling me to go buy guns. And I got friends telling me that the lines are out. Like there's huge lines in front of the gun stores. So whatever that means, it's not exciting. Okay. Well, no, it is exciting, but it's worrisome. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 1 p.m. in this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.